What's going on? What's going on, guys? This is your man, Real Deal, Steele, coming to you live on the special late edition Sunday night. Feeling all right? What is going on, guys? What is good? Let me just adjust my little Hollywood square up here, and that should do it to it. Great to see you guys. So thanks for joining me on this special late edition. This was the earliest I could get the show prepped and together, and you know how it goes sometimes. So thanks for joining me. Got a lot of familiar faces in the chat, a few new ones as well. We got the 7-1, we got Northwoods Peachtree, we've got Mama Crypto, we've got Celeste, we've got Audio Freak, Hump Deezy, 7-1, Mick D5, okay, Lumino, Zombie Doge Army, Alan Schneider, Me You, Larry Ramirez, Mama Crypto. I think I had covered everyone that's active in the chat as of now, and I'd also like to welcome the lurkers. Welcome the lurkers. If you haven't already pressed like, just take a moment to do that. It takes a split second of your time. Doesn't cost you a dime. Number one thing you can do to help out a channel like this: ascend to the heavens and beyond. Also, if you're brand new here, I'd like to personally welcome you. You're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. So yeah, feel free to hit subscribe, hit all on that notification bell, so you never have to miss one of our spontaneous live streams ever again. Celeste says, what happened to the Halloween decorations, Steven? Oh, wow. It's hard to kind of balance them and keep them balanced while keeping them on screen. You can't see it, but there's actually a bat to the right of me still hanging off the edge of my floor lamp. So sorry about that, Celeste. King Cobra, I like that name. King Cobra 406. Welcome. Jody K, welcome. Great to see you guys. Also, if you feel compelled to super chat anywhere throughout the duration of this broadcast, that's obviously hugely appreciated for all my time and efforts put in. Feel free to ask me whatever questions, comments you want, and I will do my best to field those, well, to the best of my ability. Finally, membership. If you're not already a member, as my friend Matt would say, what the heck you doing? It just starts at $4 a month. That's $1 a week. That unlocks all the cool emojis, badges, and then we do lots of extra exclusive membership-only live streams and content that will be available to you as well. Just another cool way to support what we're doing here in our little sliver of the interwebs. Anyway, wow, what a day we had yesterday, right? I mean, what a day that transpired. So last night I went on the air with Nick Balls, and we were just going to do a show as usual, and then it was brought to my attention that there was currently a debate breaking out. I don't know other way to describe it, but it was a bit more spirited than a conversation. It definitely turned into a debate between Mark Cuban, and several prominent, what could be described as Bitcoin maximalists. And the whole tone of the conversation took really, I bet hostile is a bit much of a word to describe for it, but it was tense. And these guys were piling on Mark pretty good there. I mean, they were coming out swinging, and Mark finally really started swinging back, and in my opinion, he really put things in their place. Anyway, that was really interesting. And if you missed that, you can just go back to the archives yesterday. I have the entire thing still up, and obviously it'll stay up. So if you want to listen to, I think I missed about the first 10 minutes of that debate, but after that I patched it through, and we played the whole thing with a little bit of commentary at the end, and it was just very interesting what transpired there for a number of reasons. And like I said, he went into the lion's den, or as they described it, the viper's den, because apparently they refer to themselves as the vipers, and I cannot take that seriously. I mean, when you refer to your club as the Vipers, the first thing that comes to mind is Ben Stiller's character from the movie Dodgeball, when he is the sole proprietor of Globo Gym or something like that, and his dodgeball team is the Vipers, and they do a little dance. So I posted that too. But that's what kept going through my mind whenever they refer to themselves as Vipers. But I think honestly, I think that Mark Cuban really held his own. He did. I think he did extraordinarily well under the circumstances. Sure, hindsight's always 20/20. You always get armchair quarterbacks who are like, oh, it wasn't substantive enough. He should have said this. He should have said that. This person should have said, shoulda, woulda. You know, when you're in the heat of the moment, in the spontaneity of, 4-on-1, 5-on-1 with people, attacking you. And with a couple of those guys, not all of them, but with a couple of those guys, Peter specifically, it turned into full-throated attacks of essentially Mark Cuban's credibility and Mark Cuban's intelligence. And so that's when you started to see the apex of the tension, right? And Mark wasn't having that. It's just really something else to me. It's really something else to me because I am not a Dogecoin maximalist, and I don't advocate for maximalism of any kind in crypto because this is what you get. I think it was a really teachable moment. It was a real learning experience to witness that and to listen to those guys, because that is what maxis sound like to everyone else. And sometimes if you're in your own bubble of confirmation bias, let's say you're privy to the minority of more of the hostile kind of Doge maxis, and we have them too. Sometimes you can get in that bubble and not see what you're doing, right? You not see how it's being perceived and how it's going over. Well, I would implore folks to reference what we saw last night. Listen to that. That's how it sounds, folks. That's how it comes off. And I think that, wet my palate. This is some bubbly seltzer water with some fresh squeezed lemon. It's really hitting the spot right now. So, that's how it comes across. Over 15,000 people were listening to that stream last night. Let me ask you guys a question. How many people do you think walked away being new Bitcoin investors out of those 15,000 people that listened to that space last night? How many? I'd wager to say maybe a handful. And that's generous. But I would wager it's somewhere between 0 and 5. 0 and 5. Not good margins. Swift Pilot says those maxis sound like little kids. Literally, is pretty funny. Oh well, we certainly know who not to act like. That's exactly right, Swift Pilot. There's another comment in here that caught my eye, and I'm looking for it. Seven One says, I had a dream about Mark Cuban because of that. And in my dream, I had 2 invention ideas. And honestly, if I could somehow make them, I'd be set for life. Well, yeah. Sometimes we're just one investment away from a life, having your whole life changed. Sometimes you're just one investment opportunity away from changing your wife and your life, right, guys? So, it is pretty amazing out there, and there are projects like this out there. Will Dogecoin moon? I strongly believe so. I can't tell you when. I'm not going to tell you when. I just know I'm in it to win it. I'm in it for the long haul, and I do think that the wheels have been in motion and continue to be in motion for Dogecoin to set itself up to be hands down one of the most used, transacted digital currencies on the planet. What's interesting is I am not anti-Bitcoin. Those of you who listen to me I usually speak pretty complimentary about Bitcoin. Now, I have my criticisms on what I believe its limitations are in the current landscape. But other than that, what have I been telling you guys? I've actually been telling you guys not to write off Bitcoin in terms of profits. I was like, there's still lots of money to be made there. The margins aren't as great, but I've been telling you guys to not write off Bitcoin out of your portfolio. And now, listening to the most prominent spokesmen in Dogecoin carry on and act the way, or in Bitcoin carry on and act the way they do, I gotta say it gives me a little bit of pause. It gives me a little pause in how much more money I'm going to keep investing in Bitcoin. Not that I still don't think Bitcoin's going to have a super successful future, but at the same time, I do worry how this narrative over a period of time may hamper and dampen the progress of Bitcoin. Frankly, I think this kind of stuff is very counterproductive for them. They had an enormous opportunity last night to bring a lot more people into Bitcoin, and I think they just absolutely whiffed it. Zombie Doge Army, first super chat of the night. Thank God. Thank you, Zombie Doge Army. $5, make you holler. Steele speaks the truth. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Thanks for helping to keep the lights on over here at Steele HQ. So, what Mark Cuban was talking about and trying to have a conversation about with the Bitcoin maximalists last night, it was very common sense stuff, and I thought it was very reasonable, and there are points that we often make here on this show. And that is this. Those who've been following me for a while know that I've been making this point that I'm about to lay out for you since the beginning of my broadcast, because I've always felt that this point is the biggest, most obvious elephant in the room in regards to cryptocurrency that few people have been aware of. More people are becoming increasingly aware of it now, but hardly anyone was aware of it when I first started talking about it. And that is this, folks. Bitcoin is essentially dead on arrival in a retail space. It's essentially dead on arrival in a retail space. Not entirely. And it does have its roles in that capacity, as we are seeing it being ushered in as legal tender through select countries throughout the globe that are going through certain levels of economic turmoil. But the problem is, it's too expensive, it's too sluggish, and those transaction fees are nothing to write home about. And it's got a very hard limited cap, which is not a bad thing, but in terms of it being a sustained digital currency to be a really good option in the long term for the planet overall, I just don't see how that shakes out well. Furthermore, we have already a lot of proof of concept, most notably here in the United States and parts of Canada, that show that even once businesses become Bitcoin compliant, their Bitcoin sales are next to nothing. Now, part of this can be attributed to just being ahead of the curve, clearly, as only a fraction of our population even buys cryptocurrency, and let alone trades it. But that being said, when you look at how many sales are generated through Dogecoin when given the Dogecoin option, well, it's night and day. That's why Mark Cuban's so passionate about it, because he's seen firsthand the proof of concept. He went out on a limb and he decided to add Dogecoin to the list of digital currencies accepted for his franchise, Dallas Mavericks. And he saw that he yielded more Dogecoin sales in the first month of him accepting it than he had in Bitcoin sales of the entire year. Now, at the end of the day, folks, this is also community driven. If enough people are engaged and enough people decide something is worth something, then it's worth something. And that is something that's very frustrating for some of the Bitcoin maximalists to wrap their heads around. They don't want to hear that. And I understand that to a certain degree, but it's kind of funny because to me there's a cognitive dissonance there, because obviously one of the main points and features of digital currency is decentralization and giving people the freedom to decide when something has value and giving the people the freedom to decide what they consider money to be. And a lot of people have chosen Dogecoin. Lots and lots and lots of people. And that's a big part of this driver, right? That's a big part of this driver. Furthermore, because here's another thing you really want to keep in mind, guys. By the way, new folks, I'd like to, again, welcome you. Feel free to hit subscribe. Another thing that's, I don't think enough people really realize that hasn't quite set in yet, is the hard limited cap of Bitcoin over the long duration of time that it's existed, and it being a godfather and founder. Don't be wrong. Please don't get it twisted. I have an immense amount of respect for Bitcoin. I mean, Dogecoin wouldn't even exist without Bitcoin or Litecoin for that matter. But sometimes the best things in life are happy accidents. And just because something has been invented through a happy accident, that doesn't automatically discredit its features and its contributions to life. Jody K coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jody K. And thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you. You know what I mean? So just because something got invented by happy accident doesn't mean that it automatically invalidates that invention. I mean, most notably, I remember having a very in-depth conversation with co-creator of Dogecoin, Billy Marcus. When I first started creating content, he and I, he had a one-on-one talk with me in a Twitter space, and it went on for about 2.5 hours, and it was a great talk. And he's very hesitant to give any talks or interviews, so that was a really cool experience. But as I was hearing him talk about this happy accident that he didn't expect to go as far as it did, it reminded me of some stories that I would hear about artists. I mean, before I used to do this stuff, you guys, years ago, as when I was a much younger man, when I was 17, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for blue-blooded girls of independent means. We rode in limousines. That's Frank Sinatra. Anyway, when I was a much younger man, I used to make my living as a recording artist. Did a lot of touring, and so my mind still thinks that way. I still do that stuff, but just as a hobby now. My point being, a lot of the things that I reference, a lot of the things that the go-to pivot points in my mind for referencing things are often music related, music history related. I couldn't help but think of when Keith Richards was talking about the writing of both the guitarist for the Rolling Stones, was talking about the writing of both I Can't Get No Satisfaction and the song Miss You. They kind of occurred in the same way, where he wasn't trying to write anything. He accidentally wrote this really cool riff and passed out because he was half drunk or something when he wrote it. That's how I Can't Get No Satisfaction occurred. And then the next day he played it for Mick Jagger and said, it's just kind of screwing around with this riff. I don't know. What do you think? And he's like, Mick Jagger said, no, stop right there. That's good stuff. That's really good. We got to make a song out of that. And Keith Richards is like, really? you really think that's that good? I didn't really think much of it. He's like, no, it's great. And, the rest is history, right? The rest is history. So I kind of threw that analogy by Billy at the time when we had to talk about it. And he seemed to get a kick out of it. He seemed to kind of nod in agreement, and he could definitely see the parallel there. So just because something is created out of a happy accident doesn't invalidate its value, right? It doesn't invalidate its value. And sometimes some of the best things, best inventions that we've had in this world have come about in such a fashion. Let's see what's going on in the chat. You don't need a full coin. Yeah, a couple Bitcoiners are in here. That's fine. Yeah, so I understand you don't need a full coin, and I understand the fractionalization of Bitcoin. I get that. But still, to me, constantly having to fractionalize Bitcoin down and down and down, eventually it's just going to get to the point of ridiculousness. I don't think the average person is going to want to deal with the hassles and the figures of this constant micro fractionalization of Bitcoin. I mean, another thing too is when you look at the sheer volumes and amount of Bitcoin that's being bought by large companies and well-moneyed investors right now, that's being stored on cold wallets, it's massive. It's much bigger than most people realize when you start looking into that data. And I think because of this, that we are going to run out of Bitcoin a lot sooner than most folks anticipate. I think we're just simply going to run out sooner than most folks anticipate. And obviously, when it gets to that point, okay, it's going to absolutely have a very significant impact on raising the market value of Bitcoin. I've always said Bitcoin is a marvelous store of value, like digital gold, as leverage against fiat. And that's how I see it when I invest in it. And I'm a very long-term Bitcoin investor, and I love it for that. And I have immense respect for Bitcoin. Again, don't get it twisted. But over a period of time, people aren't going to spend their digital gold freely in a retail space. It's just not going to happen. Now, we've had some evolutions spin off of Bitcoin since then. And don't get me wrong, I do think the crypto market is very overcrowded right now. I think there's a lot of projects that, frankly, we could stand to do without, but they're free to do whatever they want, right? And there's a lot of projects that just, why are they even here aside from making a couple devs, some bags, There's a lot of projects like that. But I think the herd will thin the more we go along here. I think Darwin's law will be applied and the herd will thin out more and more. We are already seeing it now where people are demanding a bit more, whether it's utility, even if it's fun utility. Like we are seeing a pretty significant migration out of within the BSC market, away from the shitcoins and into the gaming tokens, so which have strong utility and audience within the gaming industry. So, and now we're starting to see those just start to get legs. Axie probably being the most notable example. But so Dogecoin, it's another thing that a lot of people misunderstand about Dogecoin is they think it has an unlimited supply. That's false. It has a soft cap of 5 billion annual. Now, it's structured that way so it can be accessible to a wide variety of people to be used in transactions both large and small on a regular basis, without it being in danger of running out. Now, some people say, oh, well then Dogecoin's not going to rise enough in value and they should burn more. You guys, there's not a hard cap on fiat as it is. There's not a hard cap on traditional money as it is. So there's that. Furthermore, Ethereum doesn't have a hard cap either. So if you're going to apply those critical standards to Dogecoin, you need to apply that, keep that same energy up with Ethereum. Okay. So it's just it's one of those things where it's been structured from the beginning to be a very accessible, spendable, retail-friendly currency from the beginning. And furthermore, all other points aside, at the end of the day, people are spending Ethereum and Dogecoin more than they are spending Bitcoin. Those are the facts, Jack. You don't go out, you don't take your girlfriend out for dinner and pay for the bill with gold. You don't book a weekend bender trip to Vegas with your buddies and pay for it with gold. You put it on your credit card. That's what you do, right? And those of us who own gold, you store it. You store it for added long-term value investment. So because of its super hard limited cap and its inevitable future of strong appreciating value, which I give Bitcoin huge props for that, people in large are just not going to be apt to spend it on in any significant capacity within a retail space. And I think soon as Bitcoin takes off on its next run, where things get super, super bullish, do you think the people of El Salvador, where Bitcoin is currently legal tender, do you think that they're going to keep spending their Bitcoin once Bitcoin gets above 100,000? I mean, some people that are in dire straits, maybe, yeah. Some people that are not very bright at all, sure. But I'd say the lion's share of people that are still going to be Bitcoin holders at that moment, they're going to hold on. They're going to hold on, and they're going to see that mass appreciation and value, and they're not going to want to do anything with it. I mean, that's okay. That's okay. That's all we've been saying. That's all Mark Cuban's been saying. That's all we've been saying on this corner. We love Bitcoin. We just recognize its strengths versus its non-strengths. I don't even want to go so far as to call them weaknesses, because I think that's even too disparaging to call them weaknesses. I just think that there's a few different coins that have a few different functions that they specialize in really well. I don't think Dogecoin is structured to ever be this huge, massive store of value. It's not structured that way. Dogecoin's never going to get to $10,000 a coin. It's not even going to get to $1,000 a coin. It's just not structured that way. I could see it maybe in the future getting upwards of $10 a coin, but it's just not structured that way. It's structured to be super accessible and hit the ground running. And we will see these quarterly earnings reports for AMC. We will see the new quarterly earnings reports for the Mavs. And I think that there is an incredibly high probability that Dogecoin is going to hands down be the number one transacted used digital currency within those respective businesses. Zombie Doge Army coming in with a $1 super chat. Thank you for the poo-poo. Was that Zombie Doge Army? Yeah. And Jonathan Marino, that's a name I haven't seen in the chat in a bit. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good to see you back in the mix. He says, good to see you, Steven Steele. Likewise, sir. Good to see you. So, I could go on and on, right? I could go on and on. And I'm going to go on a little bit more because I'm doing a show. So, to expound on this a little bit more, another thing that people that are incredibly dismissive of Dogecoin, I would just ask them, I would implore them just to do a bit more research. There's so many myths that are perpetuated every day, and it's like the same short list of things that people think about Dogecoin that aren't true, and that is that there hasn't been any active development on it. There's not a strong active development team. There hasn't been for 7 or 8 years, etc. That's false. That's false. There's a very vibrant, active, proactive development team right now. There's been the recent resurgence and relaunch of the Dogecoin Foundation to make things much more organized and official, which is made up of Dogecoin developers and advisors, most notably, and this is a very convenient, here's our 2 very convenient positions that those that marginalize and write off Dogecoin as a shitcoin and whatever else don't acknowledge, and that is Vitalik Buterin is now the blockchain advisor of Dogecoin. Hello, Vitalik Buterin is now the blockchain advisor of Dogecoin, and Elon Musk's go-to lawyer, a legal hand, is also appointed on the Dogecoin Foundation as well. Why do you think that these 2 individuals are involved? Why do you think that these two incredibly brilliant and busy individuals are on the Dogecoin Foundation? I'll tell you why, because there's so much happening behind the scenes to position Dogecoin to be one of the most popular, vibrant, transacted digital currencies on Earth. And right now they are working hard to optimize Dogecoin's performance so that it can be just that. They're not playing around. Jeremy Abbott, good to see you, and thank you for the generous super chat of $20. Make you holler. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Felt left out. Well, hey, that's as good a reason as any to keep the lights on over here. So thank you, Jeremy Abbott. Appreciate you. Mama Crypto, good to see you, Mama Crypto. Super chat for super host. Are we having a special Halloween show? We are having a special Halloween show. I'm still working on my Halloween costume. Nick is going to be on the Halloween show too. I'm trying to get Sadaf Jadrin on with us as well. Nick is going to be going as the Tiger King. I haven't decided my costume yet, to be revealed, my friends. But there's going to be a special Halloween night episode of Steele Live. And so it's definitely coming. I'm still brainstorming the costume. Josh Randell disavows Bitcoin is destined for massive value. It's wise to own. If you need real-world transactions, just trade some BTC for Dogecoin. Great super chat, and thank you, Josh. Always appreciate you, man. Here's the thing. What we don't want to be, guys. We don't want to be the mirroring version of Dogecoin maximalism. We don't want to be the mirror version of that. And that is not conducive with the values and culture of Dogecoin anyway. It's supposed to be fun, lighthearted, and do only good every day is obviously the acronym. I definitely fall short of do only good every day. I don't know how many people do only good every day. I see I see people tweeting that out. Hey guys, don't forget to do only good every day. I'm like, man, that's a real high standard. I don't do only good every day. I would say though, I do mostly good every day. I do almost only good every day, but I fall short on my own standards sometimes, for sure. But it's a very great motto to aspire towards, and it's always good to aspire towards better. Doge Extra coming through with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Doge Extra. Bitcoin doesn't understand that this is still the wild west of crypto. Anything can happen. It's just too early to replace any real monetary system. Just not ready. Thank you for your thoughts, Doge Extra. And thank you for the super chat supporting the show. By the way, your screen name made me think of Doge X, the NFT project. Let's just check in. We'll check in with that really quickly. Then we'll get back to the main topic at hand. I'm pulling up the Doge X website tonight. We were down to almost about 350 350. Minty is really moving along, guys. It's getting right down to the last one. So this was a NFT project that started at 10K. And just for in full disclosure, this is an NFT project that I was asked to be brought on board for. And to work with them. And after I had some really good talks with the developers and the team there, I felt really excited about coming on board there. So, but we're really excited. The community is expanding. The metaverse is greatly expanding associated with it. People are just having a lot of fun. And that floor is finally slowly rising now. And I believe will continue to rise, particularly once things get minted out. So, yeah, almost gone, guys. Last 350 there. So. Let's see here. Yeah, it was over 150 minted today. That's correct, audio. Yeah, a lot of interesting thoughts, and thank you for sharing those. I am reading the chat when I'm able to. And even those of you who are super bullish on Bitcoin, I get it. I get why you think the way you do. I think I get it. I think I do. And it's kind of scary when you're super heavily invested in one thing and then you see this funny, stupid dog money thing, and you see all these brand new investors that don't know much about cryptocurrency, and it's getting more popular than you feel comfortable with, and the richest man in the world is very fond of it, and Mark Cuban's fond of it, and you think it's getting way too much attention, and Bitcoin's more serious, and you're worried that people are going to take cryptocurrency seriously enough with Dogecoin in the mix. I get it. I understand it. I would just implore you, just hear me out. To a certain degree, this is populism. We're dealing with the fundamentals of the nature of populism. People are attracted to things that are fun. People are attracted to, and I'm talking about the masses, not crypto nerds or crypto dorks. There's people that know a lot more about the technicals of crypto than I do. Hell, there's people that know a lot more about technical analysis than I do. Nick Balls is better at technical analysis as I do. You can go to a million channels that nerd out on technical analysis a lot more. That's just not. It's just not the vibe of my show. I'm me. I do me, and some people vibe with it. So, just putting that out there as a disclaimer. But that being said, I also think because of the way my mind works, I'm able to see perspectives some other people in crypto don't necessarily consider or weigh the gravity of. And I think this is one of those things, right? I think it's one of those things where the masses are more attracted to things that are friendly, fun, easier to understand, and aren't as intimidating. Now, I think Bitcoin is not doing the Bitcoin community is not doing itself any favors in terms of having such a fundamentalist approach, in terms of when you're literally just telling people that there's no other digital currency on the planet that's valid other than Bitcoin. And this is a pretty common school of thought within circles of Bitcoin. It's a very, very extreme position. Let's face it, that's a very extreme position to take. It's going to alienate a lot of people. And what's unfortunate about this is the Bitcoin maximalism mindset leaves no room for middle ground. So even though that I love Bitcoin and I'm an investor in Bitcoin, and many people in my audience are as well, we're essentially not really welcome in the Bitcoin community because we are bullish, additionally bullish on Dogecoin. Some of us are additionally bullish on XRP, Ethereum. I'm very bullish on Ethereum. And so you're alienating a lot of support there. And I tell you guys this as some friendly criticism. You're really you're really short-sighting yourselves. You're really stifling the popularization of Bitcoin by having such an extreme fundamentalist view regarding it, and it's really turning a lot of people off. In fact, I've lost count of how many people that have told me that these kind of mentalities and attitudes have alienated them so much that they've sold all of their Bitcoin. This is a very common thing that I hear, by the way. They've sold all of their Bitcoin and they've reallocated it into projects like Ethereum and ADA and XRP and Doge. As a consequence of them not feeling welcome, okay, in the Bitcoin community. Just some friendly advice there. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Some of these I can't read out loud. You guys. Maybe I'll blame it on the alcohol. Chris says, I prefer Bitcoin because I'm 41, 2 kids under 5 as far as crypto goes. It's the most safe coin with the upside in the game. I don't entirely disagree with that, Chris. It is one of your safer investments. In fact, I recently made a video. I make these, those of you who follow my channel closely know that I've been making daily video shorts. They're like those quick 60-second videos. I try to pump out 2 a day. I can't always get to it. But I recently made a video short, or a couple video shorts, where I've referenced what I feel to be the big top 3, and I'm sure you'll disagree with one of these choices on there, Chris, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doge. To me, these are the biggest, the big 3, and I think that I think the future, what the future holds, will vindicate me now in making that assessment. I really do. And I know that's very hard for super Bitcoin enthusiasts to wrap their heads around. Like, no way is Dogecoin going anywhere, but trust me, I study Dogecoin every 7 days a week. I understand what's going on behind the scenes. I understand how it's positioned itself. I'm very close with a few of the developers and the foundation. I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I think it gives a very high promising probability for Dogecoin to be a long-term top 3 coin. That being said, I advise people, if you are feeling too overwhelmed with everything going on in the market, because most of us aren't made of money. Most of us, I even tweeted out last week, just because I'm not invested in a project doesn't mean I don't like the project. Many times it means I just don't have the money to invest in it. I don't have the money to invest in it. Most of us have to pick our battles, right? Most of us don't have the luxury of investing in every NFT, every coin project that looks promising to us. So with that in mind, it becomes a matter of deductive reasoning, right? With that in mind, I advise people, now I'm not a financial advisor, disclaimer, blah, blah, blah. It is my opinion. It's simply my opinion. You can take it for what it's worth. That if you're overwhelmed by the market in large, and you want to play it safe, and there's nothing, let's be honest, there's nothing entirely safe in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency isn't safe by nature. Right now, anyway. I believe it will be the top coins will be very stable in the future. But if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the projects and NFTs, and you want to play it safe, you could literally just split your funds up in between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin, and just let those 3 ride long term. And I think there's a much higher probability, if you're a patient, you're a long-term holder, of things working out very nicely for you compared to a lot of paths that you could take, which would be much more high risk than the aforementioned. So, Beef Supreme in the chat, throwing those burgers out there. Jerry, good to see you. Audio Freak, butter and toast them buns. Butter them buns. You know, I went to a theme restaurant when I was a kid. I think I was probably about 12 or 13 years old. is when my sister went to college down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we went out to eat at this theme restaurant down there. The name of it eludes me. But it was one of these theme restaurants where everyone plays a role in a character. And the whole staff and the whole vibe of the restaurant was just fun, wild, deep Southern madness, you know? And just stuff was someone was like hanging from the ceiling. When we walked in the restaurant, we were greeted by a guy in bib overalls sitting on the roof and all this kind of stuff. And my father, who's a very distinguished, old school distinguished gentleman, we had just sat down, and this very very buxom woman with her twins just kind of spilling out of her ensemble went right up to my father, and she handed him some hot buttered buns that just came out of the oven, and she said, "Grab my buns and twist." That's what she said to my father. And my dad, what? She said it again. "Go on, honey, grab my buns and twist." And so he did. He grabbed 2 buns and put them on his plate. I wish I could remember the name of that restaurant. It was absolutely hilarious. Captain Howdy coming in with $1.50 super chat. Thank you, Captain Howdy. Larry Ramirez coming with $2 make you holler. Thank you, Larry Ramirez. Appreciate you. Sound God says Steven is the Doge of storytellers. I think that's in part why you guys keep tuning in, right? I think that's in part why. I can't talk about crypto all the time. I can't talk about charting all the time. For as much as I stream, I can't do it all the time. Luminal says, I'm a butter on buns maxi. Now, that's a maxi I support. That's a maxi I support. I have the freshest steam buns on this side of the Roaming Hills. Pretty tall claim there, Swift Pilot. But I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. Be Supreme. Yes, you did get us talking about buns. I don't eat bread so much these days at all, but sometimes I'll cheat with a little bit of garlic bread. A little bit of garlic bread. If that garlic bread is toasted up right with the right ratios of butter and real chopped garlic in there too, it is mwah. Shidoshi says Steve's the greatest. Great to see you, Shidoshi. Appreciate you. Oh, let me wet my palate just a moment, guys. Let me wet my whistle. What was that old Yin Yang Twins song? Whistle while you work, right? Captain Howdy coming in with $1.50, keeping the pep and the step going. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Thank you for your super chat of your popcorn. Mexican street corn. Now you guys are talking about food truck vibes. Zombie Doge Army coming in with $2. Eat me, beat me. Sir, a little out of my district, but I appreciate your support. Doge Extra coming in with $5 super chat. Now I'm starving for a burger. Now you guys want Burger Talk. Burger Time. There's an 80s video game called Burger Time. Great video game. The theme song is in the back of my mind right now. Anyone remember Burger Time? A few of you might remember Burger Time. You had to make burgers by walking across each ingredients until the slices of the ingredients came cascading down until the burger was made. It's kind of like the general template of Burger Time was much like Pac-Man, except you were a chef instead of a Pac-Man, and you're trying to make burgers, man. Steven Steele pounds 200 proof moonshine every stream and never even shows the slightest buzz. Yeah, that's what this is actually. It's not seltzer with lemon. It's just straight hard moonshine out of my backyard. Yeah. But back to burger talk. What kind of burgers do you guys like the most? What kind of burgers do you like the most? Now, I like a real hometown bakery bun, right? And then I want it lathered up with lots of butter and hot toasted, pan toasted. So it's crunchy on the inside with lots of butter on it. And then you put that aside. And a medium-sized patty, not too thick, not too thin. And some good grade A beef there. A little bit of salt and pepper in the mix. Sliced avocado is essential in my opinion. I like raw and fried onions on there. I like a big tomato slice. One big thick tomato slice in there. Some crunchy romaine lettuce. Maybe an egg on there sometimes. Depends how I'm feeling. But I'm lactose intolerant, so I forego the cheese. I don't do the cheese. Tappers. Tappers was also a good game from back in the day, where you were a bartender and you had to keep serving slanging drinks on multiple bars, keep going up and down. And if you didn't slang the drinks fast enough, the customers would get to you, and then you'd get beat up and you'd lose it. You'd lose life. Abstractus says bacon cheeseburger with lettuce, tomato, red onion, provolone, spicy guacamole. And I forget how to pronounce that kind of bun. There was this place that had an option topping of peanut butter. So I had to try it. It was actually pretty dang good. Now, that I don't know if I could be fond of. But, you know, as the old saying goes, don't mock it till you try it. So I've never had peanut butter on a burger. I've never had PD on the burger. Celeste says, come on, gang, we are going out to eat. Let's go. Yeah, maybe someday we can take all 70 of us, right? Anyway, I think we're losing a few people with all the burger talk. Oh well. There's a few stories I didn't get to last night. So there's another article that came out today, quoting crypto analyst Justin Bennett and a few other kind of prominent crypto analysts have kind of jumped on this prediction as well of Dogecoin being primed for a parabolic breakout to the tune of 500 to 1,000% and a multi-month rally if it hits that level. And that's what Justin Bennett and a few others are predicting. Now, Daily Hold reports crypto market analyst Justin Bennett thinks Dogecoin is primed for a massive rally if it successfully recovers the key levels of and retests its support. The analyst tells its 80,000 Twitter followers that he thinks the crypto asset Dogecoin could begin a 500 to 1,000 multi-month surge if it can reclaim the 24-cent level. According to Bennett's analysis, if Doge can break the 24-cent level, he expects a short-lived pump to a previous high of 26 cents before retesting 24 and moving higher. At the time of the writing, Dogecoin was traded at 23.6, according to CoinGecko. The crypto market strategist is also looking at Dogecoin's daily chart, where the meme crypto asset is coiling and forming a large triangle pattern. This particular triangle is something that Nick and I have been keeping an eye on as well. The formation of it in an uptrend suggests the bullish continuation of an asset once it takes out its diagonal resistance. According to Bennett's chart, Doge which has printed the same pattern twice this year. In both instances, massive run-ups followed the breakout. So, that is obviously an incredibly bullish prediction for Dogecoin. I don't think it's outside the realm of probability. When we look at the cycle of Dogecoin just over the past year, it'll trade sideways for months and months before breaking out and going parabolic to an average, as I recall, between 400 and 700% around there. So in light of how long we've been trading sideways and accumulating and building all that tension, a 500 to 1,000% parabolic breakout that lasts over the course of a few months, particularly in lieu of recent events of what's been happening behind the scenes in relation to Dogecoin, it honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if this is something that occurred. Now, actually, this is something that Nick and I have been predicting. Those of you who watch us frequently, has said that, in our opinion, it looks like that we are headed for a multi-month bull run that I believe is just starting right now. It's just starting right now. Now, I believe that we are going to see overall bullish trends headed all the way into the new year, into the beginning of the new year. And I think overall, 2022 will likely be the most parabolic, advancing year that we've seen in cryptocurrency to date. Bang Stun coming in with a $5 super chat. Whatever happened to Dogepalooza? Did it ever happen? I couldn't go like as planned. To my understanding, they decided to cancel it and reschedule it for a later time due to the restrictions of a certain pandemic that has been taking place throughout the globe. I don't want to trigger any censors. So due to that, they're rescheduling it for a future time. I think it's probably for the best when I looked at it. From what I know about the music industry, and I have a pretty good idea of what it takes to put together an event that massive. So it's probably for the best. They'll give them more time to plan accordingly. And I wish those folks the best. I do believe it's still coming. I did talk with, they reached out to me, the founder of that project, the guy that's spearheading that project, and his assistant, Sadie. They were both, from what I could tell, they were both very, very nice people. Last time I went to one of those places, I got sick. I'm not the biggest festival person. Maybe it's part of getting on in age. I'm the biggest festival person. I like going to concerts, but I like going to just regular concerts where I go to see, a main act and then like maybe one or two opening acts. But I might make an exception for the Dogepalooza. And I do like its location in deep in the heart of Texas. Do you remember the Alamo Doge Extra? Welcome to membership. Love to see that bold green on the screen, if you know what I mean. Good to see you in the membership class, Doge Extra. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Kenny Potter, my nephew, is in the mix. Good to see you, Kenny. Says Medium Fun's got to play at Dogepalooza or whatever that is. So Kenny is my immensely talented 15-year-old nephew who's an incredible producer and songwriter, obviously particularly for his age. So he and I have a fun side project together called Medium Fun. Steven Steele, I was talking about a dollar scoop. I was talking about a dollar scoop Chinese places. Never got sick at a... Oh, I think I know what you're... Okay, sure. Although I've had some great food in in various Chinatowns of different cities, some really, really good stuff. Some of it's a bit too adventurous for me, but Steve would be a great speaker at Dogepalooza. Yeah, we were actually talking. The founder of the project was talking to me about possibly getting involved in that regard some way. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Pamp that Doge, says Audio Freak. Yes. So, nothing really remarkable going on with Doge. It's just trading sideways, accumulating. As of now, like I said, I would think that if any recent history is an indication, I think Dogecoin's more than likely going to hit a new stride, get some bull legs on it over the next 48 hours. In fact, I think there's a pretty good probability going into tomorrow, going into Tuesday, that we are going to see a significant breakout. I think I'd put that in the category of 1 through 10 and like a 7 probability. So we'll see how it goes. But everything that I've been looking at, everything that Nick has been looking at as well, reads that Monday and even particularly Tuesday, look for some big bull run action going on. DogeX says it's building pressure. I agree. Thai food is good, says Abstractus Artemis. I'm a huge fan of Thai food. I'm a huge fan of those Thai curries. I'm a huge fan of all that stuff. I love a good Thai curry. I love that coconut milk based soup. Was it Tom Kha? I think I'm pronouncing that right. I could scarf pad Thai in a day. I'm not a big noodle guy, but pad Thai is very tasty. It can be very unremarkable though, if it's from a place that's just very, very cheap and bad quality. Then it's not nearly satiating and satisfying. But a good pad Thai is quite indulgence. I also love pho. Pho, I think it's technically pronounced, but whatever. No need to be pretentious over a soup. Abstractus Artemis. Yeah, I agree. I love pho, however you put it. Vietnamese food. I love Vietnamese food. It's one of my favorite cuisines on this planet. There was a time where I was eating pho probably about 3-4 times a week for a while. I like getting it with extra bean sprouts, and then the meatball, and then the slimly sliced flank beef there, and then the hot jalapeno peppers, some cilantro. Just get the juices flowing. It's very healthy and very nourishing, in my opinion. You got the beef broth in there too, yeah. Zombie Doge Artist says pho is gross. It depends where you have it from. I'm kind of spoiled because I'm like a mile away from one of the best Vietnamese places in the world, in my opinion, that I've ever had. Everything's super clean there and super good, and all super natural, healthy ingredients. None of that Cisco stuff. Kimchi is not for everyone. Anytime you're getting into the fermented food category, it's not for everyone. I like Josh. Banks Dunn says, I'm a simple man. Give me Kraft macaroni and just cut up some hot dogs in it. You know what's really good? I get the kosher ones, the all beef ones. I like to slice those up good and to mix those with like a vegetable, a few different vegetables, and pan fry those up with a little bit of olive oil with some salt and pepper. Maybe a little garlic in there too. But yeah, some 100% beef hot dogs. You just slice those up and pan fry them in with some dishes like that. It's very, very tasty. Yeah. We need Taco Bell Doge Deluxe meal. Yeah, I could see it happening, honestly. I could see some Doge themed product on the Taco Bell menu in the future. This is something I've talked about in the past because I'm not sure if the technology is there yet, but Taco Bell was making some strong moves to accept a few different cryptocurrency, Doge being at the top of that list. I'm not sure if that's rolled out anywhere quite yet, but I know it's in motion. I know it's in motion. I love chimichangas. Me too. You know, not the healthiest one out of them all, but you know, there used to be back in the day. There used to be this chain, this Mexican food chain franchise called Chi-Chi's. Chi-Chi's, that was the name of it. And what's funny is the Spanish translation of Chi-Chi's is, you know, tatas. So somebody knew what they were doing there. Somebody knew what they were doing there. I don't think their Chi-Chi's has been around in quite some time. I don't know. I think they just went out of business. But someone was in on that joke right out of the get-go. Prairie oysters. See, I've never been a big oyster fan. I know they're very healthy for you, particularly because of they're so loaded with zinc and things like that. I eat them. Especially if I've gone out to eat at oyster places where I've been invited to go. I didn't want to be rude, so I slither down some oysters. But frankly, I find it to be a rather disgusting practice. Feels like it's just so slimy. You just, ugh. But I did it, and I know it's very healthy for you. I know they're very healthy for you. Chi-Chi's still makes salsa, I think. I think you're right. I think Chi-Chi's still... I think Chi-Chi's closed down their restaurants, but I think they're still a pretty primary salsa manufacturer. And I don't think it's very good. I don't think it's very good. Bang Stun says, I loved Chi-Chi's growing up as a kid. Well, I think technically we all loved Chi-Chi's growing up as a kid, if you know what I mean. Prairie dog oysters are something different. I don't think I've ever had them, so I'll have to put that on my my checklist. Have to put it on the checklist. So anyway, guys, we could be looking at an extremely bullish breakout for tomorrow and Tuesday. And those of you who dabble in NFTs, also keep an eye out for Jungle Freaks. Jungle Freaks, you haven't heard of this project. This project is doing massive volume right now. And I know Risky has been watching this project as well. Let's check on Jungle Freaks. It's been doing massive volume here. The hills are alive with the sound of music. I'm pulling up the Open Seas Jungle Freaks by Trosely. It's called Jungle Freaks by Trosely. Yeah, so the floor price right now, the minting date was just on Friday for public minting, and we're on Monday, and the floor on it is already 1.24 Ethereum. So pretty strong bullish looking moves for Jungle Freaks by Trosely. I think the main reason that this project is doing so well is because it's a father and son team. The son is kind of spearheading the NFT project, while the father did all the artwork. Now the father has been the cartoonist for Hustler magazine for like 40 years, and it's a 10,000 piece collection, but everyone, like Doge X, it has this commonality. It's different. So and it's got a lot of character because he's that old school cartoonist. So it's got like that kind of cool, scrappy 80s cartoon kind of vibe to it. So it's got a lot of character that you don't often see in the space. A lot of times too, I'm sure you guys have noticed this in the NFT space, where there's a lot of collections that come out where they'll just take one basic template and then they'll just change the clothes or the color of that template. And to a certain degree, I think you have to do that when you're making like a 10,000 piece collection. Like, I get that, but when that's your entire 10,000 piece collection, the market's just like flooded with projects like that, and to me that's just kind of it doesn't really flip my switch, if you know what I mean. So Miles G, good to see Miles G in the mix. Miles G in the mix. That's my 80s MC voice right there. Captain Howdy says Rocky Mountain oysters, or mountain oysters, or meatballs are also known as prairie oysters in Canada. Okay, yeah, that is an entirely new trip. So that does sound like something I would probably quite enjoy. Does anybody know where I can get a Doge mask for Halloween? Charles, good question. You just got to Google it, man. I don't know. I know that they're made. I know that they make Doge masks. They have to. It's certainly a popular enough of a iconic character at this point. TJ Braymiller coming off the third turnbuckle into the chat. Good to see you, TJ. There used to be a show in the 80s called TJ Hooker. Wasn't that I want to say William Shatner was TJ Hooker. I could be, or it was either him or a guy that looked a lot like him. Let me look up TJ Hooker. Oh my gosh, I was just informed that Rocky Mountain oysters are bull testicles. You guys are nuts. I'm not having a testicle festival with you. No, sir. You're alone on that one, my friend. I have an adventurous palate, but not that adventurous. I'm not putting another species' balls in my mouth. No way. So, yeah, William Shatner was TJ Hooker. TJ Hooker. Boy, would that be quite a last name to go through life with, huh? So, what did TJ Hooker stand for? It stood for Sergeant Thomas Jefferson. And you know who else was the main female star in TJ Hooker? Was Heather Locklear. Quintessential 80s feathered hair babe, Heather Locklear. You know, Heather Locklear has aged quite well, it looks like. All things considered, you know. Let's see. Doge Extra, welcome to the Steele team. Yes, Doge Extra. Totally. I haven't decided what my Halloween ensemble will be quite yet, guys. I haven't decided. I definitely need to come to a conclusion rather quickly here. Yeah. Yes, I will not be joining you guys on your testicle festival. Okay, let's see here. Oh, here's a story I wanted to get to. So, sorry, I'm just going through my notes here. There's the story. Okay, Futurism.com is reporting this. Get this, you guys. Get this, gang. NASA scientists predict settlements on moons of Saturn and Jupiter. The first humans could land on both Saturn's moons before the year 2100. That seems like a long ways away, but it's really not. It's really not. Scientists from NASA's Jet Lab in California are projecting that humanity could be a multi-world species in a much shorter time frame than originally thought, in large part to Elon Musk, I will add. And the clock is ticking as the team argues in a preprint paper published in July, beginning the development and deployment of the first nuclear war weapons near the end of World War II. Humanity entered a window of peril, which will not be safely closed until robust off-world colonies become a reality, the paper reads. Wow, this article took a turn that I didn't expect to right out of the gate. Pretty cryptic, man. Our findings suggest that the first human crew missions to land on Mars selected asteroid belt objects, selected moons Jupiter and Saturn can occur by the end of the 21st century. An aggressive and sustained exploration program which includes colonization and thus seen as critical in the long-term survival of the human race, they write. Scientists have often hypothesized a great filter causing intelligent civilizations to keep veering towards self-alienation. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a dark take. Not necessarily one I disagree with, but I essentially agree, but for different reasons. I think overall we have an issue where the most reckless, irresponsible, the stupidest people, frankly, are procreating the most, and conversely, the more thoughtful and intelligent people are breeding the least. So over a long trajectory, you essentially get the script of idiocracy, right? So how do you handle that? I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I really don't. But I do think it's awesome that futurists are now predicting that humans will be colonized on both Saturn and Jupiter by 2100. That's pretty wild. By the way, none of pushing humans to become an interplanetary species, in my opinion, would be remotely possible without the assistance of Elon Musk. Before Elon Musk came along, our space exploration technology and programs were essentially dead in the water since the early 70s. There had been very little progress in just decades of essentially wasted time due to the reallocation of funds and priorities. To a certain degree, I empathize because of all the things that we need to take care of and solve here on Earth. I get it, but we can walk and chew gum at the same time. When you have someone as ambitious and with the resources and the intelligence of an Elon Musk, which doesn't come along often, he's essentially, a Thomas Edison of our time. You need to take full advantage of that and make as much progress with that person while they're still on this planet as you can. Because you never know when someone like that's going to come along again. New EFT coming, yes. Space. The final frontier. Please don't invest in Chriscoin. Yeah, I don't think anybody... to be fair, I don't think he had... When he tried to come back for that short duration, I don't think he had any designs on launching another coin. I'm a pretty empathetic person. I think, don't get me wrong, I don't know, I heard his channel got taken down or whatever. You got to be careful for his his sideways as that whole situation went. I never want to see someone get bullied to a place of complete alienation. I just don't want to see someone get in a super unhealthy headspace consequentially that could lead to putting them in a very dark place or you know, taking action in that regard. So to a degree, I do have concern over that. So it's, don't get me wrong, the memes are great and well deserved, but you know, I think some of it can get a little too much. Celeste says, I leave for a minute, now we're back to crypto again. When food talk? Sound God, I really hope you're joking there. Well, either way, if it is a joke, it's, I don't know. But let's see here. So tomorrow, I think that there's high probability of a pretty nice bull run for the whole market. Again, I think, especially after talking to Nick earlier about it, I think we're going to see that most likely really kick in on Tuesday. So look for a decent chance of things getting. Look for a high probability of the market getting semi-bullish throughout the day, showing some signs of some healthy movement there, and then really take off on Tuesday. So, let's see here. But I don't know, given the choice, if you could go to Jupiter or Saturn, which one would you go to? I think a lot of people go to Saturn because of the big ring around it. You want to see the Saturn ring, right? This is kind of a funny article from courtesy of Babylon Bee. This is a funny article. Babylon Bee is a parody website, by the way. So, this is the article. Boy who pointed out the emperor has no clothes is now banned for information. Twitter, Facebook, YT, TikTok, and IG have all confirmed that they have banned a young peasant child from their social networks after he pointed out that the emperor has no clothes. The brouhaha started after username God Emperor Joseph the first showed off his wardrobe at a press conference this morning. The press reported his fashion was impeccable and that he even looked even hotter than George Clooney, but some far-right extremists said that he was actually naked. Is it just me, or is the emperor not wearing any clothes? The boy posted on his social media accounts on Thursday. Censors worked quickly, flagging his tweet with a warning that is potentially harmful information. Snopes fact-checked his claim and found that it was mostly false, and as the emperor was wearing socks. CNN dug into his old tweets and found that he tweeted that his best friend Chris was a boogerhead 2 years ago. He made his case for the emperor actually being completely naked on his Parler account, prompting Amazon to quickly take down all of Parler. The IRS is also looking into his accounts as he had over 600 copper pieces in his satchel, and the FBI is going after him, and he has a castle Lego set at his home, causing some to wonder if he was going to attack the emperor's castle and cause an insurrection. Oh my gosh! Oh, I hadn't read a Babylon Bee article in quite some time, but that's about all the news I had for you guys tonight. And by the way, that last story was a parody. It was a parody article. So, Mama Crypto says Saturn, Jupiter scares the F out of me. Storms the last hundreds of years. No thanks. Yeah, that's a very salient point, Mama Crypto. I would lean with your conclusion there. So yeah, unless you guys have any other questions for me, feel free to shoot them out there, because I'm kind of at the end of the news that I wanted to cover tonight, and at the end of the stuff I wanted to cover tonight. Yeah, I saw that my coverage of that the Mark Cuban Bitcoin maximalist situation really is making its way around Twitter. It got retweeted by a lot of big names. My edited clips of my coverage of that kind of fun to wake up to all that today. But that won't be the last time I'll do that. Anytime there's like a kind of an event Twitter space going on, I'm going to cover it live on the show. People seem to like that interaction where they're able to hear what's going on a Twitter space and be able to chat and talk about it live on YouTube. See, so I'm going to be doing that a lot more because I think that offers the best of both worlds. So you'll be able to hear what's going on a Twitter space while being able to express yourself and interact with what's going on in the chat. And then you can also see my goofy mug react and respond to things as well. Is that a new jacket, Steven? A very astute observation. It's new-ish. It's not the denim jacket. It's a Levi's corduroy number. Big green weenie on Sheeb. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Your meme game was fire yesterday with that cover, Steven. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Lumino. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to wind this one down. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you, fam. Thanks for tuning in on a late Sunday night. Pretty good turnout for a late Sunday night. I think we're growing. We're growing slowly, but surely, but steadily. Thank you again, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, it was a good time. Hope you got something out of it. Yeah, so that's about all I got. Thank you again, guys. We'll see you soon. This is Steven Steele, and I'll be back tomorrow night with Nick Balls, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Over and out.